Hello friends, so this video will be on automating event-driven tasks with DynamoDB streams, Lambda, Python, and CloudWatch. So the task here will be adding, an item to a table, to a database, to a table, right? A DynamoDB table, right? And CloudWatch is basically a service that will help to, so let me come here. So CloudWatch is a service that helps to monitor, monitor activity on AWS resources. Like it helps to track the use of AWS resources like DynamoDB tables, right? So we are going to be creating a DynamoDB table, and CloudWatch is going to help us to track, the events, right? It's going to help us to track that. So now let's get back to our slide. So I'm going to be, creating a Lambda function. You see Lambda here. I'm going to be creating a Lambda function, and the runtime is going to be Python. The programming language for that function will be Python. And what is DynamoDB stream? Let's look at that. So DynamoDB stream is a feature that captures changes, right? So it captures the changes made to DynamoDB table, right? So it captures that changes, right, and makes these changes available for processing. So it captures the changes, and then CloudWatch helps us to view, right? We will use the CloudWatch log to view, the events that occurs. So in our project. So now let's look at the table, right? So this is a table. We are going to create this table, right, in DynamoDB. So we are going to create this table. So once there's a change, right? Once there's a change, maybe the shoe color, right? We change it to maybe black or something, or we just even add a new item, right? It's going to capture it, right? It's going to capture it. So let's just go into our this is my AWS console, right? And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create DynamoDB table, right? DynamoDB. So I'll click on that, and then I'll come to tables or create table here. Then I'll give it a new name. I'll say product 1. Then the partition key, which is the primary key, I'll put ID. The sort key, which is optional, I'll put item, right? Just like we have in our table. So if you look at our table in the slide, we have ID, item, and color, right? So we have to also put the attribute color, right? So, but for now, let's just create the table, and then later we are going to put all that. So I'll just click on create. So while this table is creating, I'm going to come and create the Lambda function. I will open this in a new tab. So this is it. So I'll click on create a function, and the name of the function will be new function 1. And just like I said, the runtime is going to be Python. So I'll click on Python, and if you look at here, it's going to create a new role. It's going to create a new role with a new role for us, right? It's going to create it automatically once we create this function. So I'll click on create function. So while that is being created, I'll come back to my DynamoDB table, right? The table has been created. You see that the product 1 table was created successfully. So let me come to the table. Then what I will do is that I will click on export and streams. I'll click on that. And then if you observe, just observe what is here. We just have this, and then we have the DynamoDB stream details. So I'll turn it on, and then I will choose the view type. I will choose new and old images. So I will turn on the streams. So once I turn on the streams, now I have trigger. Before I don't have trigger, right? It was when I turned on the stream, then I have this trigger, page, right? So I have trigger. So I want to create a trigger, right? So I'm going to create a trigger. So so the Lambda function, so So the Lambda function has been created. You see that new, so it is appearing here, showing that it has been created. So I'll click on new, the Lambda function. Then once I click on this trigger, right, it's going to give me an error, and we are going to use that error to continue. So if I click on trigger, see, the error is, it says cannot access stream, right? Please, what should we do? Please ensure the role can perform get record, get shared iterator, describe stream, list stream action on your stream in IAM. So we have to go to identity and access management to be able to perform this action. So let's get back to our Lambda function, and then we are going to come back here. Let's get back to our Lambda function. So then I'm going to come to, so this is my Lambda function. So I'm going to come to, I'm going to come to code. So this is my code. Let me reload. So it's loading. Okay, so I'm going to come to my code. So what I want to do is I want to print the event. So I'm going to put here, I'll put print event. So what I will do is that I'll come down and then I'll click on deploy, right? Deploy. So you see deployment successful. See down here, deployment successful. So now I'll come back and I'll come back to test. Let me just go to configuration, right? Just to go to configuration because I have this error, right? So I'll come to configuration and then I'll click on permissions. And this was the role that was created when we created our Python, our Lambda function. So I'll click on this role, and if you look at this role now, if you look at the permission, the policy, it automatically assign this policy. So I'll click on that policy, or created that policy. So I'll click on that policy, and then we see the service. We already have this CloudWatch service. So I'll come here to edit. I'll click on edit, and if you observe, we have effect, allow, action, we have resource. So now, what is the service? DynamoDB. Choose a service, DynamoDB. I'll click on DynamoDB, and I will come back to this, the error that I have here, because this error should guide us. So you say, please perform the get records, get shared iterator, describe stream, and list stream. So in this, my edit policy, I'll type get, and then you see get record, then also get shared iterator, right? You see, as I clicked those two, it automatically added it here, get record and get shared iterator. Then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to type streams. So let me type DynamoDB first, and then I'll type filter action stream, and then you see describes stream and list stream. So I'm going to add that, and then I'm going to add a resource. I'm going to add a resource. The service will be DynamoDB. Then the resource type will be stream, and then I need to get the resource ARN. So because this one is not going to work, I need to get the resource ARN from my DynamoDB stream. So let me get that. Okay, so let's get that now. Let me come back to this place, and then I'm going to open this in a new tab, because I don't want to, close this. I'll open this in a new tab. Then I'll come to export and streams. Then I'll come down here to my DynamoDB stream details. I'll copy this latest stream ARN. I'll copy this stream ARN copied. Then I'll come back to the edit policy and I'll paste it here. Control V and add resource. So I'll add this resource. So once I add the resource, I'll click on next, down here, next, then save changes. I'll save the changes and, that is being done. So now you see that for the services, we don't only have the CloudWatch log, we also have the DynamoDB, right? With all those, actions. So now let me come back to my create trigger. So if I click on this create trigger, we have this error now, right? If I click on create trigger now, the error will be gone because we already performed these actions. So I'll click on, you see that the error was gone. And now everything looks, see, the stream status is on, and then you see the trigger, the function, and the state is enabled. So let me come back to my Lambda function, right? So if you look at this interface now, right, just observe this, there's no, so I'm going to reload, and once I reload, you will see like a DynamoDB here. So let me reload. And now we have DynamoDB, right? So now what I'm going to do is that I'm going to go back to my DynamoDB table and I'm going to add an item, right? I'm going to add an item. So let me go back to DynamoDB table. This is a table. This is a table, right? So I'm going to come to action. I'll click on create item. So we have the ID, we have the item, and remember, we also need the what? The color, right? We need the color. So I'm going to come and click on add new attributes, string, then I'll put color, right? So the ID, I'll just put 1 or 1. Then the item, I'll put shoe, and then the color, I'll put brown, right? That was what we had in our table. So I'll create item. So once I create this item, now we are going to come back. You see this is it here, the brown shoe, and then the ID is 1. So completed, right? So I'll come back to my Lambda function. I'll come back to my Lambda function. I will reload, and then I'll come to monitor, right? I'll come to monitor, and let's see if the CloudWatch, okay. So I'll come to monitor, and then I'll click on view CloudWatch logs. So let's see, view CloudWatch logs. Okay, so we have, this is the log streams. So if I click on the log, if I click on that, you see that, so we can see the event. You see, look at if I click on this record, you will see it here. See, we have see the shoe, we have the ID, right? Then we also have what's it called? The item is shoe, the ID is 1, this S is a string, right? Then the image, the color, this is the color is brown. So that's it. So that's it. Let me just yeah, so everything worked well. We're able to get the event, everything worked well, just as we want, right? And it worked in an automated, way. So in fact, let's even try something else. Let's try something else. Let's add another item. Let's add another item. So I'm going to click on action, products, create item. So I'll just add this attribute again, color. Then I'll put number 2. Then I'll put maybe shirt, and then I'll put black. So I'll create the item. So we have 2 items here. Number 1, shoe. Number 2, shirt. So let me come back to my Lambda function, and I'll reload. And let me see monitor. Okay, let me see on monitor. See if it will capture the new item that was added. Okay. Click on this. Okay, so you see that, see record, right? Let me click on this one. Oh, this one is the first one. Look at this one. This one is the second one. So you have the shirt, you have you have the shirt, you have the the item, which is the color is black, and then you have the ID. So that's just it. That's just it. So this is fantastic. This is amazing. Everything worked